can tell them I said it. Level up. God level. You can tell them I said it. Level up. Level up. Level up. Go.
What's going on, y'all? We didn't hear our song. Where's everything? Where is everything? Let's say everything.
I'm about to say I heard the song.
I know, right? I'm like, I didn't hear the song. I was like, that's the start for, you know what I'm saying? Hey, everything. What's going on?
Everything that means everything. Eyes connected to everything, and that's why. I'm in everything. All eyes on me. All eyes on everything. That means everything. Eyes connected to everything.
Ta-da-da! There we go. There we go. It's like we got the song. Now we can go ahead and we can get it cracking. What's going on, everybody out there? I feel like that's like the start. You know what I'm saying? It's like we are kind of everything. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't hear it, it's like I don't feel right. Hey, welcome to things that people don't want to talk about. Our girl Renee got level. She is doing God level things, so she's going to check in really soon. But welcome you to part 2 of our series talking about boundaries. Last week was crazy, y'all. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. Hi, Em. What's going on, Shasha? What's going on, Jessica? They was like, let's get it started. They're like, let's get it cracking. So since we're going to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself before our wonderful and esteemed host Renee Godlevel gets in until she checks into the building. So I'm your girl, Inattentive Ivy, representing the PNW over here in Washington State. Talk about ADHD. I'm the owner of all the damn hamsters because my hamsters be hamstering, baby. They really do. I'm a mom, a sister, a friend, a former military broadcast journalist. I like to talk about mental health and things that are going on in communities of color because we kind of present different. So that's kind of my thing. And I like to share my journey and share my bullshit so that hopefully it'll help somebody else out there. So I just say, I'm going to keep it a buck and we're going to keep it going. So Mr. Skywalker, would you like to come in and would you like to introduce yourself?
John Skywalker, the Slide Talker here. I'm a lyricist, spoken word artist, martial artist, personal trainer, lover of life, student of psychology, and I'm a father who has 5 hip-hop albums streaming on all major music streaming platforms now. If you like conscious, positive hip-hop, I'm your guy. You should go look me up. John Skywalker. John Skywalker. And I did mention I'm a personal trainer. So, hey, if you're trying to get your body right, if you're just trying to get into the fundamentals, and now I'm not trying to, coach any bodybuilders or any, I'm just targeting the working professionals. The folks that's just trying to, maintain their bodies, they in their 30s, they're in their 40s. Hey, John, I just need a little regimen. I need some motivation. I need some accountability. I'm your guy, John Skywalker. Just go to @master.johnskywalker on my Instagram. Message me. Or you can look for John Nicholson on here, but you should go to my Instagram @master.johnskywalker. If you're looking for a personal trainer, let's just have a conversation. Salute.
And let me tell you, that man gonna get you together. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, look, check the comments. Elle said, I am. She's like, put me in the game couch. Right?
John Skywalker, I got you. All it takes is a conversation, y'all.
And listen, he was getting people over there. He was getting people together, getting the family together when we was over there in Kuwait. So he will get you together. Ooh. Yes, sir. Sure, come in here, man. Let them know who you are. Represent in the building.
Represent.
Well, my name is Sherman, and I am nowhere near as decorated as these two, but I'm just here to pass on some what I think is good knowledge and however I can help.
Hey, that's what it is, man. Appreciate it. We appreciate you brothers being here. Appreciate what y'all bring to the podcast. And thank you for everybody who wished me a happy pre-birthday. I will be 48 years young on Friday. I'm real proud of that because, baby, these grays, they come with wisdom. You know what I'm saying? They come with wisdom.
Yeah,
and some people don't make it to this
struggling with 48. I'm just like Sherm. I'm still struggling with 48. I'm just like, man, I don't know.
It don't compute, but I mean, it's
I don't want to gaslight your age or anything like that, or gaslight the sun, but I don't know. I don't know.
It's something.
Oh, y'all are so funny. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Elle. I'm trying, God. I'm trying to do that.
I'm trying to do it like her. Shoot, what? I want to feel like, well, you looking at me sideways, like, what? You're how old?
I can't, Michelle. I cannot. I'm
Make
serious. I cannot. Thank you for making me feel good about myself. I appreciate it. Oh, she a baby. Cut it out, Sean. I see you. But yeah, hey, let's go ahead and get into part 2, man, of these boundaries, because last week, oh my, it was popping in here. I'm telling you, people had a bunch to say about boundaries, about what they are, about how they show up, about what people have boundaries, about what they are, like all of the mansion. The mansion.
Oh yeah, mansion.
Ooh, that thing set me up, y'all. It set me up. So let's get into it. Where them questions at, Mr. Skywalker?
Yeah, let's go ahead and pick up where we left off, right? What steps should be taken to address violated boundaries? And we did not cover how to form them in the first place, which is very critical when it comes to addressing the violated boundaries, because the principle that created, not just the situation, but the principle that created it is going to be what supports you in addressing the violated boundaries, right? So obviously, when we're addressing violated boundaries, right, the response is going to be no. But what does that no look like? It's going to vary from because when we're talking about violated boundaries, like, hey, you just went into that room. We don't care if it's a 5-year-old. Like, no, we're going to say no. But how do we say that no? And then the no is followed by a conversation. But, every boundary or every type of boundary, and that's another thing. We covered some of the types of boundaries. And so every type of boundary is going to have its own technique, its own strategy in terms of addressing it. So physical boundaries versus virtual boundaries. Emotional boundaries versus mental boundaries, spiritual boundaries versus financial boundaries, social boundaries, right? So each of them are going to require a certain kind of, care, right? So how do we do that though? What does that process look like?
I believe that process looks like, what do you do when you don't feel safe, right? Like if you get if you feel this feeling in your body, you feel this feeling like in your mind, like it's either cognitive dissonance or it's almost like anxiety, like the butterflies. They talk about the butterflies in your stomach. Like anytime that I know that either I have violated an internal boundary or somebody else has violated a boundary for me, that's the first thing that I feel. And it took me a long time to get to there to try to connect with that feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to cover that up a lot, like I'm a reformed people pleaser. So I was just like, let me go ahead and keep that a buck. I didn't pay attention to that feeling at all. But now, since I recognize it and I say, okay, how is it that what boundary has been violated? Was an external one? Was it a physical one? Was it an emotional one? So that kind of leads me in the direction of what kind of steps do I need to take? Because then once I can figure out what type of boundary has been violated, then I know what type of boundary I need to set. And I need to go ahead and stress this again. A boundary is not to control other people's actions. A boundary is to make you feel safe, to keep you safe. And it's also a boundary it's also contain yourself, right? Because people out there be like, I got boundaries. I'm telling them they cannot do this to me. And blah, 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 blah. Yes, they can't do that to you, but what's going to happen if they continue to do it? What's going to happen? There's got to be a consequence to that. So how are you going to find your consequence? You first got to know what's been violated, so then you know how to get yourself back to a place of safety.
Well, mine's not so complicated. I'm not complicated. That's your process, and I respect it. I trust my gut feeling. I trust my gut feeling, and I try to pay attention to the first thoughts that come when I feel those butterflies. So as soon as I get that feeling, like it may be a new boundary. That's how I identify new boundaries. I trust my gut feeling. How I initially set them is it's just easy. It's simple thought for me. It's pretty straightforward. I don't like it, I just say it. I think the truth is the best way to go, and it's just so what I try to do is watch my delivery. If I can tell the truth that I know to be true for me to keep me, safe, or however I should feel, just say it. It's pretty easy for me. I've never really had a problem.
All right. So, now, this is kind of a loaded question here also, because there are some considerations that need to be taken before we begin to address violated boundaries, right? And so I want the audience to also understand that when we're talking about violated boundaries, we are also talking about conflict resolution, because when the boundary is violated, we have a conflict now because we are emotionally reacting, right? Or at least to some level, we are physiologically reacting to this activity, this boundary being violated, right? So I think some steps need to be considered, such as like what Ivy was talking about, clarifying the boundaries, right? But there needs to be a little bit of grace. Did you actually clearly communicate this boundary before there was a violation in the first place? Yep. Right? Because sometimes, there's assumed boundaries, right? We assume these boundaries and then we just go from there, right? Oh, okay, yep, there you go, paying attention.
I love it.
Paying attention, yep, paying attention.
Something quick for me. I try to behind those boundaries, because it is emotion. That's where emotion is, right? It's behind those boundaries. I try to mature behind that boundary. So even if you do cross it, I try to hold that emotion, because emotion has never done me well, per se. When it comes to negative ones, positive ones, it makes me a little crazy, but negative ones never get me anywhere. They actually get me a step behind where I actually thought I wanted to go. Because I don't even know, because I reacted the wrong way. So you kind of got to give time when you react the wrong way, because you don't know how it made them feel, or maybe you crossed the boundary by yelling at them. You never know.
That's very true.
So just I try to take care and keep maturing, because emotion never really gets you too many places.
Wait. Are we saying at all that feelings are not facts?
No.
Hold up.
No, good devil. I want to play devil's advocate, but no, that's not what I'm saying.
But they are signals, aren't they? They're signals.
They are. But I would say use the good ones for fuel and use the bad ones for lessons. It's really easy to me. I put things in black and white. I don't have a gray area, because I think gray areas are excuses. Even some of them are valid. I'm not saying everything is wrong, but I got my own process.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because Maggie asked, what type of boundaries are we discussing, right?
We're talking about all of them.
Everything.
All of them. There's 7 different types of boundaries, and you talked about them last week, John. So I mean, if you wanted to, like physical boundaries and emotional boundaries and financial boundaries, social, everything. Like all of them, like all of the different boundaries. And it's funny that you said that, you just try to get to either point A or point B, kind of with with conflict resolution and talking about boundaries. What I learned when I went away was that emotions are there, like you just said, John, to inform you about what your action is to take next, right? So they were like, I realized that I wasn't as in touch with my emotions as I thought I was. So when I finally realized that, I'm not just feeling fear, I'm actually feeling melancholy, or I'm actually feeling sad. Then you take that emotion, and that emotion is going to aware you of where your boundaries need to lay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And for me, because of the fact that I'm ADHD with all of these hamsters, I realized that my thinking, it can sometimes be in terms of black or white, like either it's good or bad, either it's left or right, either it's up or down, like there's no gray in the middle. But for me to stay emotionally sober, I have to find the gray. I have to find the
sober.
Emotionally sober, baby. Let's talk about emotional sobriety, because let's keep this a buck. 70% of America ain't it.
No,
let's go ahead and keep it a buck. It ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Correct. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Okay. So Sean said, "Is the timing right to move forward and handle what is being discussed?" If someone violates,
I was gonna actually mention that timing is also a consideration when addressing violated boundaries, right? Because you got to choose you got to choose the right time when it's right. If you bring it up while tempers are high or stress is high, you might end up adding more volatility to the situation, because we were just talking about emotional sobriety, right? So is it better to address violated boundaries right there while the emotions are fresh? Because if we're trying to be clear and effective in our communication, because emotions aren't necessarily effective communication. There's something being conveyed, but them in and of itself is not that's not effective communication, and that is the goal. So would it be efficacious for me to bring this up now, or should I just wait until give it about a couple of weeks? Because dang, she's or he's all right, cool, I'm gonna do it later. Now some might get caught up in the, well, why didn't you say anything earlier? Well, I picked this time because but hey, you feel better now, I feel better now, let's talk about it now. We shouldn't have these conversations while we're heated. Now, what if we do get heated? Somebody's got to be aware of that, right? But that's all into emotional intelligence, right? So I just want to identify that timing, context. Okay, so boundaries also exist in the context, right? So how do I know that they didn't violate these boundaries with the same intention due to the context, right? So let's just say, for example, if I'm calling your phone, right, and you're not picking up because I'm getting it, you're getting it in right now, you're doing adult things, and you didn't pick up, but I perceive it as, oh, you're ignoring me, right? And so you explain without going into detail, like, yo, hey, I was busy, I was caught up in something, and the person reacts emotionally like, oh, no, you just didn't want to talk to me, those types. Misunderstanding, right? So context, like, hey, listen, I gave you my number because of with the whoop, but you're not supposed to abuse it in this manner, right? So context really matters. We talked about timing, emotional state, clarity. What else? I think
also, I just wanted to point this out too. You said that sometimes that boundaries shouldn't be discussed like right away, like if you're heated. I think it also depends on who the person is and how and where they are in their journey. Because for former people pleasers, or for people who fawn and run away from conflict rather than address things, yes, it is critical for when you actually feel that, to regulate yourself and bring up that boundary violation. That's what I think. And the only reason why I say that is because when somebody is just learning how to have boundaries, and normally their MO is to sit on it and get resentful. You know what I'm saying? They sit on it and they stew on it. They ruminate on it. They obsess on it. And I try to bring things from the perspective of the old spicy ADHD brain lady, right? So I'm just saying, like, when people are a little bit unaware, they can tend to ruminate about things, like if they don't get it out. But instead, go ahead and address it, but make sure that you understand how to regulate your emotions, but address it right away. You know what I'm saying?
So that's why I was talking about the EQ, because everybody don't have that. Everyone is not as polished as they think they are. And so there's a risk there by just doing it right then and there, especially if you've been ruminating all day. You're like, yo, I gotta let them know. But our first response is typically emotional. It's not sobriety. And so how do you think the other person's going to react? And then now we're playing tennis and we're playing aggressive because you're trying to hit me and I'm trying to hit you. You trying to hurt me and I'm trying to hurt you, even though we're not really trying to hurt each other, but that's the perception. And so here it is. We're trying to resolve this conflict while it's fresh, but we don't have the equipment. So I'm just saying she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I'm saying take it with consideration.
Yeah.
Am I going to meet my goal? Like, do you even know what you want first? Now that so that's another thing, right? In terms of violated boundaries, you need to figure out what you want before you address it. Okay.
Oh
There
man.
needs to be a, all right, because we're negotiating. We're about to negotiate. We're coming to the table to negotiate. That's what we do in court too. We're negotiating.
Mm.
Okay. So I'm about to come to the table. I'm about to have some of my facts, but it's going to be more emotion. And I'm going to try to trade with the emotion. Is that what I want? Is that the goal? Just to let you know how I feel? Because if all right, I know how you feel, and now you're upset because all I did was like, okay, no, you said how you feel. That
But what's
just
the
seems like
resolution?
that is the resolution. Oh, no, that's not the, I mean, you got to do something. You got to take some accountability, but you just said everything. You dumped it all on me. You didn't tell me what you wanted me to do. You didn't give me any instruction. You just told me about what happened, and I don't even think I'm wrong.
And some people don't even know what they want before they come to the conflict.
You know what?
So yeah.
You know what? To piggyback off of everything that I just heard, because sometimes it needs to be explained for people like me, for the people in the back.
No, it's
But
fitting there.
because what I love about what I heard the most is that negative emotions attach to negative emotions. So when you are heated and stuff like that, this is why you can't make any, because it doesn't matter if that person is angry and this person is sad, still nobody's hearing anything, because negative emotions usually block these. You're not trying to hear anything, you're trying to protect yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's why you have to get back to that safe space or neutral, or what I call it, like an island. I just want to swim the shore, because I can't fight out in the sea. That's why I think it's called the sea of emotion. I try to get back to shore so we can rap about it, make this boat, and then sail back out there, because we're doing this together.
I like that.
What I heard.
No, I like that. The idea of putting yourself on an island. That's almost like giving yourself an adult timeout, right?
That's all you doing.
Get centered.
Yeah,
get back centered. Get back centered. Yeah, because your boundary exists for, your boundary is an issue, right? The boundary violation is the issue. The emotions is what tells you that all right, hey, it happened. It's saying that it happened. And another reason why I kind of agree with what you're conveying, and I'll have a counter strategy for this, is because as time goes on, all we remember is how we felt. We don't remember the facts anymore. And so you're trying to address them, and the other person is like, all right, state your claim. What's the evidence, right? But you can't remember the evidence anymore because it's been so long and you got so caught up in the emotion, right? So my counter strategy to that is, if you're going to wait, and this is going to tie into another consideration, if you're going to wait because maybe your well-being, or maybe your wellness or their wellness isn't at its best, you got to consider safety and wellness. It might even be a physical violation, right? A physical violation. Do I want to take the risk of my safety or theirs to address this now? Can it wait?
Man.
Can it wait? It could wait.
And you know what's crazy? The worm that I throw out there, because I don't know why I'm using fishing analogies, but the worm that I throw out there is, especially when a boundary is new. Now, you like give me a second. I don't really know if I rock with that, but we'll talk about it. I try to keep it neutral and throw something out there to let you know. Give me a second. I'm gonna be right back, because I'm not gonna forget. I'm gonna bring it back up. I'll even bring the situation up if need be, but that's always the worm that I throw out right before I swim the shore.
Oh, so listen. No, that makes complete and total sense. So
just to let you know, I'm coming back, and I want to talk about this. So give me a quick second.
So maybe in my estimation, what I skipped over, or what I kind of glossed over, was taking that second to get on an island. Maybe that's what. Yeah, because I mean, let's go ahead and keep it. Now let's talk about this. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and keep that above. When I was going through family therapy, right? My family therapist, we had remember I talked about the talking boundary, and I was like, it's going to change your life, right? But I remember that when we were in family therapy, and we were getting ready to address these really hard conversations, right? They our primary, or our doctor, would be like, okay, so you're the one who's here in treatment. Take a second to boundary yourself, get on an island, right? And the other person, take a second to understand that this person who is in their seat, because they boundaried their self, they're going to listen to you But then if there is a reaction, you can boundary yourself after that, because they used to always talk about, if you are an adult, you have to understand how to keep yourself in containment, those internal boundaries, right? So maybe the first step to any of this, besides just figuring out, Derek Witherspoon said, "Hey there, sorry, Rachel." I like, oh, let's sorry, Rachel. Okay, he said first step is addressing, becoming aware that your boundaries have been violated, and then most of the time, let's go ahead and keep this a buck. If we realize that our boundaries have been violated, we first go rage. Most of us go rage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So take a second to get on an island, and then you can have a clear head and go from there. That's a good man. You fellas.
I like this one too. This one right here. I like this because I say this in a different way. I say I don't. If you ever catch yourself speaking in problem, because I see it as a tongue. If you ever catch yourself speaking in problem, you're already wrong. Always come to the table with a solution. Don't come with another problem, because what is another problem? It's just like having another negative emotion. You're not going to get anywhere. So if you come with at least a solution, they can combat it with another solution. But now you're doing solutions as opposed to doing problems. So you're moving further instead of moving further.
Man, you know something? No, that's like excellent, because I was literally just talking to somebody else like the other day, and I was like, you notice how some people like they like if somebody, like, you know, they talk about the red flags just in people just in general. If people always talk about end problems without any accountability, you know what I'm saying? Like they only talking, oh yeah, because I do this. I go ahead and I beat old little ladies because my daddy took away my lollipop when I was 5. Really? You're a full grown adult, dude. You're a full grown adult. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I go ahead and yes, come on, El Pessimistic. Also go ahead. Victim mentality. Man, El been over here in the comments for real. Because come over. Where's that number? There it go. Right down there. You see it? It's 229. It's 229.
And that also ties into learned helplessness, right? We learn that. Yep. We learned that.
Who's ready? Who is ready to listen to it? Come on, Shy. Who is also come to hear the hard facts about yourself. It can be an area of growth if you're open to it. I heard somebody on Instagram say, if you view conflict like, what am I getting ready to learn about myself in this moment?
Ooh, that's hard.
That's very high level.
Yes. But what am I to learn about myself? Can you see the number now, Rochelle? It's 229-928-1458. There you go. It's scrolling down on the very, very bottom if you're looking down at the ticker. Yeah. Listen, but for real, that is, come on, Marilyn, being curious. I always say that, man. Get curious, bro. Instead of being defensive, get curious. That's my girl. When I say that right there, Marilyn, that's my ace for real. So we always talk about that. Go ahead.
Thanks here.
This is things that people don't want to talk about. John Skywalker speaking. Who am I talking to?
Rochelle.
Can y'all hear her?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, go ahead and lay your comments out there. Hey.
I'm sorry, my bad. I'll bring it down. My bad.
Yeah. So let them hear you. What's your comment?
Oh, just you have the people that want to go into situations and everything is everybody else's fault, or it's the white man's fault, or it's their mama's fault, and they never come to a situation with a solution.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that? Like, what do you think motivates them to do that? Like, what's the benefit?
I don't really see the benefit, but maybe for them, they like people have pity on them, make people feel sorry for them. So then it looks like they weren't wrong when they actually were wrong for violating someone else's boundary.
So it's kind of like coming off as, I don't know, like kind of like like handicapped.
They're definitely handicapped.
Yeah, because when you're handicapped, there is a benefit that, or maybe a privilege that comes with being seen as handicapped, right? We usually place our So not taking accountability means that you can feign your weakness and use it to, I guess, gain some social leverage of some sort. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely a lack of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
But also you want other people to see you as, oh, poor me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you attempt to get this grace from others instead of taking accountability and doing what you're supposed to do. Those people don't like to hear the truth about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Do you think we're all like that though? Like maybe we're not consistent because this is a process. We got to learn it, right? So perhaps it's they're not as practiced as others. Do you feel like?
All right.
I was going to ask, do you feel like you take accountability 100% of the time when the opportunities pop up? Or do you feel like sometimes you miss it?
I won't lie, sometimes I do miss it. I may not know that I violated someone's boundary, but when the opportunity does present itself, I will take accountability and correct my wrongs. But I am a person that is solution oriented. I don't like problems.
Ooh, okay. Do you think delivery has an influence on how receptive you are to the boundary violation, the accusation that, hey, you violated a boundary? Do you think their delivery counts for anything?
Absolutely. If people talk to me aggressive or a certain type of way, and I'm from New York, you're not going to talk crazy to me, baby. So, yeah. Definitely.
All right. So, can you give us like a taste, a sample of the tone? Like, should it be, okay, if it can't be aggressive, I mean, is it realistic to expect passivity? Is it realistic to expect softness? Is it realistic?
It's not realistic. So, like, for instance, say if I'm dating someone and maybe I talk to someone they didn't like and it violated his boundary and like, hey, yo, don't talk to him no more. I'm not going to like that because why are you talking to me like that?
You're coming too hard to pay.
I did the same thing, spoke to somebody that I didn't like. I'm pretty sure I would have reacted the same way initially. But if we go back and have a conversation, and I'm like, you know what, you were right. I shouldn't have disrespected you like that. It won't happen again. But it's just a way that you speak to people and communicate your boundaries.
Okay, all right. I like that. Yeah.
El spitting, man. El been spitting, bro.
All right, so don't be aggressive because your message ain't going to come across. It might be caught, but it won't be processed because all they're going to do is just, deflect. And then, all right, they might have got the message, but they're going to just create resistance, right? So we're going to naturally resist to aggression.
Most people do.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess if you do experience violated boundaries, is it a good idea to kind of, give yourself some space, some time to, conduct some self-care and calm down so that you can deliver? Do you think that's wise, or do you think it needs to be just fresh?
Like Ivy was saying, some people, they need to handle it right then and there. I'm a right then and there type of person.
Mm-hmm.
But I also noticed later on when I reflect upon the situation, I'm like, Leah, you didn't have to do that. And I will go back and self-correct. Some people are not good at reflecting on situations afterward. They're just, once it's over with, they don't care anymore about the situation, where I am more cognizant of people's feelings. Especially if you're around me, I want you to always be feeling good. Don't be resentful or timid. Feel like you have to walk on eggshells around me. So I will come back and fix the situation or have a conversation.
Okay. Last question, and then I'm going to turn it over to the panel, see if they got any questions for you. Do you think that creating a safe space is a mutual responsibility when it comes to violated boundaries? Or do you think creating the safe space is the responsibility of the person who violated or the person who's on the, who's the victim?
I think it's a neutral responsibility because, you know, even though you were the one violated or maybe you violated the other person, that person has to feel safe enough to communicate their thoughts to you so that y'all can get to the common ground and solve whatever it is y'all need to solve. And if they feel like they can't communicate with you, the communication is going to fall short.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. L spitting. L spitting. L booty.
Y'all got any questions for her? Any other additional questions?
I'm just so happy you tuned in, L. That's all. That's all. Go ahead, Sharp.
I agree. Only thing I can speak on. The only thing I can speak, and it's just piggybacking. I think most people live in the gray area, and we are even 85, 10, 5 when it comes to stuff like that. The 10, they spent some time in the 85. They were there before they got to the 10, and the 10 before they got to the 5. So when in speaking and things like that, we are hurt people. So delivery matters most. That's the main thing. You have to deliver it correctly. So you got to be emotionally mature. You got to get your verbiage right. You got to try to steal your emotions and stuff like that, and hit it right on the mark. Because if you don't, you're gonna always lose.
I just want to bring up what Marilyn just popped up on here. Safe spaces, in my opinion, work in mutual parties. But when you're talking with somebody who's unhealed or somebody who hasn't done the work, baby, be prepared and be aware. Now that's a question. That is a question. What do you do when you are trying to set a boundary with a toxic person? I'm gonna stick a pin in that. Because I know Rochelle got an answer, like for real. But then again, I don't know. I mean, anybody got an answer for that in the comments, Rochelle?
I could answer.
Do you want to answer that, Rochelle, or?
So,
You still there?
So trying to set a boundary with a toxic person, I mean, can you really set boundaries with a person who doesn't understand that people have boundaries set for a reason?
Let's go honest. Yeah.
You could set a boundary, right? But you also understand the probability of it being violated, so you already have the consequences in place. But I think the real nature here is, all right, you're setting up a boundary with the toxic person, but there is an even deeper question. Why are you relating to this person who's toxic, right? Like, why are you in a relationship with a toxic person? Because, I mean, yeah, you got boundaries, but I guess what's their level of toxicity? Because if you got them there, I mean, is it to say that you don't have boundaries, or maybe you do, and there's just this mutual understanding that, okay, I'll violate these boundaries, but not these boundaries. You know, it could be a complicated relationship, right?
Ooh. I was going to say family.
So you don't have a safe space.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
But that relationship is already doomed.
But I mean, okay, so what if we're talking about individuals that have, low levels of toxicity, right? Two individuals that's got low levels of toxicity. They're still toxic. You see it, but not as frequently and not as severe.
Oh.
I don't deal with toxic people. I don't deal with drama. It's addressed immediately. And if we can't come to a resolution, it's again the person that's, oh, well, I didn't mean it, or I was playing, but no. Like, you was playing the first time, okay, we've addressed it. I told you that I don't like it, per se.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. But then if it happens again, is this person really listening to me? Does this person really care about how I feel? And if they don't, why am I continuing with this person?
That right there is $1 million question. Why am I continuing? Like, I want to keep it. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone.
To it. I'm pretty sure, people date toxic people, obviously. But is that toxic person open to learning? As a person, or are they going to stay in that same stagnant emotional space? And if that's the case, we can't go further.
Okay, understood. All right, so you terminate the relationship, but you can't resolve the conflict. Gotcha. Sounds pretty straightforward. Well, AL, we appreciate you calling in, sharing your thoughts. Man, you're on fire. Hope you chime in with us next week. Go ahead and stay tuned, all right?
All right, I sure will.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Al.
Bye.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Al. Listen, comments are going off. Like, oh my goodness, Sergeant Major. Oh my goodness, Derek Witherspoon. Even toxic people have God's love inside of them, even if they don't know it. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is so
I want
true.
to piggyback on the unhealed.
Okay, come on.
Ooh, okay.
Come on, let's go.
Well, unhealed people usually take everything as an insult, so their boundaries are so close. Everything that you do that they think might be a violation is automatically pushed up to a violation. So when it comes to the unhealed, there's nothing that you can do unless they start asking you questions. That's how you know if they want to learn or not. Because if they're not asking you questions and you're constantly teaching lessons, all they're doing is hearing you, changing for that slight amount of time to keep you, and then reverting.
Come on. I was just getting ready to say that. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and put myself. Hey,
There she is.
there she goes.
There
Right.
she go.
Put that
I'm
beautiful
late.
red
I'm so
lipstick
sorry.
out.
That's
It's all
okay.
good. We know that you were doing things, girl. It's okay. You want to come in and
Sometimes
represent
I
yourself?
don't make it at all. That's not good. You know what I'm saying?
That is so
True.
true.
And I'm still having some technical difficulties. It's been a crazy 2 days. It really has. The one by
I
the
believe
kitchen.
it.
Get the point.
I just wanted to point out something, right? So I remember watching a TikTok with this woman who said that if you are ever in a relationship, no matter what kind of relationship it is, right? Whether it be a family relationship or let's go ahead and talk about a romantic relationship. Normally, that's right, late but right on time. If you are in a toxic relationship, what normally happens to those two people is one person has to outgrow or outheal the other in order for it to dissipate. Because let's go ahead and keep this once again a buck. When you're young, you don't necessarily have all the tools in order to be emotionally sober, in order to be emotionally healthy, right? So sometimes you can pick up those unhealthy relationships or those toxic relationships. Or let's go ahead and talk about like when people live in the diaspora. You know what I'm saying? Black people, we've been overlooking our feelings and stuff for decades, for years. You know what I'm saying? Especially being a part of this thing that we call America over here. So we haven't learned conflict resolution. We haven't learned how to take accountability for our feelings. We haven't learned all of those things. So if we haven't learned those things, we have watched unhealthy, toxic relationships coming up. So, I mean, the only thing that you can do really about a toxic relationship is to grow yourself out of it, grow through it. And yeah, some people just don't have the what do they call it? They don't have the reflective ability to be able to look at themselves and be able to question their stuff. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. What you just said. People. Yeah. I'm just listening at this point.
It's the truth, man. I mean, because I'm not gonna lie to you. Before I went through like recovery, I tell everybody, right? Because I'm proud of the fact that I'm standing here now. Before I started my recovery journey, before I went down those roads, man, I was doing some things and covering up some really uncomfortable emotions and really didn't know how to take a look at myself, like for real. Like for real. Yes, intellectual aptitude, right? Emotional agility, right? Like that whole entire thing.
Emotional agility.
Yeah. So the thing is that until I learned, and the only reason why I learned is because I was in so much pain that I was like, something's got to change. So a lot of people don't get to that point and decide to make those changes. That's it. And if you can't make those changes, man, cut sling load. It's time. It's time. I'll holler. If I have to keep on telling you, it's go. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
No, you're fine.
Okay. If you like this question to revolve, then where you're at is going to be a constant loop for you. You're just going to constantly keep going around in a circle, experiencing the same things in every relationship until you learn. And then some of those people, let's just be honest, are just there to show us what it looks like if we don't.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
Can we get to this question? I like this one.
Yeah. Do you think your conflict resolution skills needs improvement? Hold on for a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up.
Oh, we got another caller. Beautiful.
This is things that people don't want to talk about. John Skywalker speaking. Who am I speaking with?
Hi, this is Jessica.
Jessica. Where are we calling from?
California.
California. Jessica from California. What's your comment?
So my comment is, when I was younger, say about in my 20s, my mother told me when I have problems, like this, ask for what you want and then see what you get and put a time limit on it.
Ooh.
So if somebody was violating whatever boundary I have, be it relationship with somebody or a relationship with friends, you tell them what you want. So look, I feel like you're doing, ABC, and it makes me feel like XYZ, and I don't like that. And I need you to realize what's happening, et cetera, et cetera. And then you just see what you get. So you see if that person is actually going to take what you said to heart, or they're just going to keep doing the bullshit that they've been doing and not paying attention to what you actually said. And then you put a time limit on it. So, for example, 30 days. I was with a guy. I told him what he was doing was making me feel XYZ, and I gave him 30 days so that I could see a difference. And if he continued to do it within that time frame, I knew at the end of that 30 days or before that it was just done, it was over. And that was it.
So you gave him a homework assignment. You gave him a test.
But for me, it's like black and white. It's less gray for me because life is too short to be dealing with that, and my feelings are important. So if I tell you something is bothering me and you are still doing it, that means that you don't give a shit about how I feel. You don't give a shit enough so that you just don't want to make any changes at all. Like you can't even compromise. There's zero results. Then it's time to be over. And I have no problem. I'm a Sagittarius. I have no problem cutting somebody out. So that's what
I love it.
Yeah, pragmatic, straight to the point, simple, accessible. Love it. Yeah. All right. Well, love, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and fall back into the audience and stay tuned in. Yeah, we still got about, another 15 minutes.
What did I miss? I'm looking at some of these comments. Like,
it was beautiful. I'll be honest.
Really? Phone calls, comments.
Yeah, this is our second one. Yeah. Let me call in.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Rochelle, honey, you talking.
Yeah, she called in.
Yeah, she called.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was dope.
I see Sean made his way back. Maggie, hello. I should have just been a spectator tonight. I should have just watched. I came in just trying to get busy and get myself together and hop on as for whatever time I had left. Oh, y'all did wonderful.
So this question right here, and I, this came up recently because it's Mercury retrograde, and yeah, I had some conflicts too, right? But I'm a student of life, okay? I'm a student. So I'm always looking back like, okay, that was a test. Did I pass? How do I feel? Right? That's what I'm trying to teach my kids. It's like, it's not about how I feel about the performance and the grade. How do you feel? Because if you feel good about it, you should do more of that, right? Absolutely. So that's what you're supposed to do every time you have a conflict, an argument, a fight. But if it's a conflict and you emerge from it, there had to have been a resolve. It's the resolve that you use to reinvest into the relationship to keep it stable. If you can't resolve it's not about getting into the relationship. It's not about terminating it. It's about maintaining it. Conflict resolution skills maintain your relationships. And so we learn as early as childhood, right? And we take whatever we learn from childhood, teenage, and our relationships. We learn from those relationships how to resolve our conflict. But the question is, do yours today, those of you watching, do yours need improvement? Be honest. Do you feel like yours need improvement?
I'm gonna say yes for me.
Yeah.
I'm always, but I will always say yes, because I think if you stop learning, you die. So when it comes to this conflict resolution, I think the main goal, and my main goal, Let me put it out there. This is coming from my point of view, my field research. I want to solve the boundary, because I say the boundary as a problem because it's a reactive emotion. So I'm trying to solve it over time, and that's what you do in a relationship because you mirror. So when you get that maintenance, when you get on that island, just like John said, I think you have come to a point to where you have solved those boundaries and nothing's too much in conflict because you'll always come to some type of resolution. You'll always be ready to talk. That's just me piggybacking.
I definitely.
I can't hear her.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
We're getting there. Hold on.
Keep working on it.
Hear it now? No.
Yeah, we can. I can.
I don't know what happened, and I'm sure
It's like you had it and then you took it away.
Oh my God, I'm sure it was gonna be
Can you
hot.
hear it now? Can you hear it now? Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can work with that.
Fantastic. So I guess my little microphone ain't working. So I was going to say that I know for sure that I have work to do in the conflict resolution skills department, because my personal own thing is to find. That was what I did. Yes, I like my peace, so I will keep improving myself to keep the peace in my home. My kids and anyone around me know that I'm a safe space. And that's true, because Ella's just chill. She's always just been a chill person. And I'm just going to say, for me, when I was coming up, in order to keep the peace in my home, I had to have no opinion. I had to have no autonomy. I had to do what everybody else thought that I needed to do. So me coming out of that original download, unfortunately, I sought out relationships, whether friendships or even romantic relationships, that did the same thing, where I didn't have a voice. I didn't have my autonomy. So my thing is that if I feel conflict, it's to either fawn or run away from it. So now for me, learning how to actually engage and be present for conflict, and instead of to not go all the way right, which is go hot ham and cheese sandwich, right? Or for me to actually be present and come in and realize that I'm going to learn something about myself. And at the end of the goal is to, how can I be a safe space, not only for them, but also for me? And I think about that in terms of like my kids, like I know that that's my thing to work on. And my ego's telling me no, but my soul's telling me yes. Come on, Zach. That's real. That's real. You know what I'm saying? It's all about ego. My ego was, it was wrapped up in that too. So yeah, I know I got work to do. Just to put that out there. And I have no problem with saying it, because I am a work in progress. You know what I'm saying?
We all, Lord. And I'm just going to piggyback on what Sherman said. Once you stop learning, that's just it for you. Mm-hmm. That is just, you feel like that you are at no, like there's nothing left for you to learn. Like, all there is to know, and you don't, and you can't grow like that. Even in the healthcare field, what we're doing today, we're improving on what we were doing 20 years ago. We're growing. We're finding better ways to do things. So if you're not growing, then you're stuck.
You start dying.
It's that endless loop that you said. You just said it. Now you're on the movie reel. You're going to do the same thing. Even if it's a different face, it could be a different scenario. It's going to be the same relationship because you did not learn the lesson. If you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result, you're insane.
Insanity.
There you go.
The definition of insanity: to repeat the same thing over and over again and expect different results. That is the definition of insanity. Yes, that is so true. So yeah, if you're not learning, then you're dying.
People out there that's not growing, I really do. Ooh. Working on yourself is one of the best things, the most rewarding things that you can do for you. I'm learning that just by going to the gym, being committed to the gym, working on yourself. Ooh.
It pays dividends.
Huh?
It pays huge dividends.
Don't it though?
Yeah.
You start to crave that shit after a while.
You dang all right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Don't ignore the signs. That's so true. If somebody thinks of your boundaries as trivial, then yeah, I mean that already lets you know everything that you. Oh, how do we? Okay,
Oh, hold on.
okay. Oh, look. Oh, we was going right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was the greatest transition
going,
ever.
L. Maybe the benefits after a couple of weeks and your body starts to set in, honey, keep going.
Yeah.
It just, you start to think differently when you're going to the gym as far as what you're putting in your body, how you're taking care of your body, the fact that you are loving yourself. That is a sign that is you showing you that you love yourself. Oh my God. You start to make better decisions about the food even when you go out. You think you can't do it, but you really fucking can. It's just a lot of self-limiting beliefs that we have given ourselves that we fucking believe that it's not even true. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be cussing.
True.
So here's why the perception of the boundary. This is and you got to understand this, right? From a practical standpoint, I violated your boundary. Man, y'all are killing it with the comments.
I love it.
Man. But you got to consider this, right? If I'm looking at your boundary as trivial, it just means that there's a difference in values. It doesn't mean that I don't respect you, right? If I've been respecting all these boundaries, but I come across one that I think is trivial, that's just my opinion, my perception, right? Doesn't mean it's a fact. That's just how I view it. That's why it's your boundary and it's not mine. So if I view it as trivial, but you view it as serious, what do we do?
I just had this issue. Man.
Well, let me learn something today. Go ahead.
Oh my God. No, I just had the same issue, man. I had an issue with a friend. I was bringing up my boundary. My boundary was important. And they did not see that my boundary was important. And they kept minimizing my boundary. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, I'm not talking about all that other stuff. They wanted to go into some other stuff. I'm like, I'm just talking about my boundary. Two things are allowed to be true. I can believe this and not go. Whoo! Yo, that's another show. But seriously, like it was made out to be trivial. My boundary was trivial. So I was like, okay, I can't do anything about that until that person is ready to grow themselves. You know what I'm saying? I can't do anything about that. You know, I mean, because they set a boundary and I respected that because I am trying to grow and respect. I tell my kids all the time in here, you have to make space for somebody else's neurodivergence so they can make space for yours. It's the same thing with boundaries. You got to make space for somebody else's boundaries so they can make space for yours. It's about aligning. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Did I just take over? I might have took over for a second.
No, it's okay, but that's going to lead us into our next show. What? Go ahead. I'm looking at some stuff that John wrote down. Yeah, it's flowing. It is definitely flowing.
Man, y'all are killing it with the comments.
Spitting game. Come on, Jazz. So again,
you know what?
That is trivial. It's time to move.
You know what? If you can't respect those boundaries, that's not the person you're supposed to be with.
Is that a sign of a controlling person?
No, I wouldn't say that. I would just say that you understand that these boundaries may be controlling and they're not using them right. So it mostly shows an unhealed person. Because if your boundaries go into a type of control, you're not ready. And that's okay. Right.
Say it loud, Sharon.
Yeah, for the people in the back, right? That's kind of how I feel about it. But I'm learning. I'm listening.
We all are. We're all at different stages in our journey. I'm so happy to have you all on my timeline because I learn a lot from each and every last one of you. Awesome tribe.
Filling up my cup. It is.
Filling up,
but it's good for me.
Filling up the cup. Remember the card? Filling up the cup.
Absolutely.
The cups.
Oh, did I do something?
That just came from both of us. Yeah. Because that's what we're both doing, filling up our cups. And there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with taking out time to just focus on you. It is not being selfish. It's just you recognizing that you need you right now. That's it.
And
That's
your cup
it.
does get,
Love
and
on
you know what?
Yeah.
And your cup does get full, but when it gets too full, you pour it on somebody else. And you keep
Ladies
going.
and gentlemen,
You never stop
I'm
going.
gone. I wish we had like I wish we had like an applause track in the background.
Yes. Yes. We were just talking about this. I'm so serious.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I think that's what you're supposed to do.
You are here
That's
to
it.
help one another along on their journey, but you cannot make people your forever assignment.
Oh my gosh. Come on, man.
That's not for you. That's their assignment.
And I just want to point this out too. For people who are, if you are a reformed or you're trying to get out of people pleasing, right? The thing that punched me in the mouth the most is that people pleasing is kind manipulation, right? But actually expressing yourself from a real place and telling people how you feel from a real place, not fawning, not running away from confrontation, but being authentic, that is like, that's a piece of like, that's the cure for people pleasing. That is the cure for people pleasing. I just wanted to throw that out. And having boundaries and having your mansion like walls up and having your door closed and having your gate closed, that is the
people in the
cure.
street right now. I like that. I am talking to people. Yeah, I'll see you later. I'm talking to people in the street. They can't come in right now. I'm under construction right now. Like I'm going through, like I'm cocooning, as if that makes any sense. I'm in a cocoon right now. So yeah, I get it.
You know, it's crazy.
Man.
I'm actually bursting out of one. It is absolutely insane. I'm to this point. This is where I am in my little sphere of or world or whatever you want to call it. I'm throwing out miscellaneous, just compliments left and right. I'm saying hello to everybody, and I'm keeping eye contact. That's what I'm doing now. Hey, how you doing? Good morning.
Black butterfly. Ooh.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Thank you,
Beautiful
Mr.
day,
Shine.
right? Because just like I said, I'm starting to realize emotions attached to each other, negative or positive. So if it's negative, it's gonna induce a negative on their end. But if it's positive, you can drag them along with you. That's why everybody wants to be at the cookout.
Come on. We got to get an applause track.
We do. Do we have one on here?
We're gonna find one. It's gonna be there next week.
We really are.
We'll be using it for everybody, John.
Oh my God.
We'll be using it for everybody. That'll be happy.
You know, with that being said, do we want to go into people pleasing next week?
Oh, are y'all ready? I don't think people ready to hear about it because, man, people pleasing attack, it straight hit me to the heart.
Yeah.
But they got to get ready.
This is those uncomfortable conversations people are not ready to have. That's why we have this podcast, things that people don't want to talk about, adult conversation. Oh, he said we ready. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Sean. Let's do it. Oh my God. Okay.
So are we gonna
talking?
So are we gonna bring up people pleasing as a Black woman response to trauma? Like, because that was like as a fun response.
That's gonna be 2 parts.
Let's go Black women and Black men. Yeah.
Yes.
That's gonna be big.
That's gonna be 2 parts. It's time to change the name now. Oh,
I love it.
Oh my God.
We're here for a short time, not a long time.
Man,
for both. As a trauma response, I get it. Yeah.
I can't.
You want to be like, you want to be loved because you felt like you didn't have that when you were growing up. So you're willing to do all of these things for the person to look at you and to like you and to love you and to care for you. Yeah, but it's not getting you anywhere. Let's, as Ivy would say, put a pin in that. We'll put a pin in that. And we'll come back to this next week. I want to thank everyone for jumping in on tonight's live. Y'all did an awesome job, John, Sherm, Ivy. This was great. Oh man. I'll be off next week, so I'm gonna be here from the beginning. So with that being said, we will see you all back here next week with people pleasing. John, you got me?
Salute.